What if I told you that Arsenal, once known for their beautiful, free-flowing football, has embraced the dark side? That's right, the Gunners have undergone a transformation so dramatic it's left opponents quaking in their boots. But how did this happen? And what does it mean for the future of Arsenal and the Premier League? Buckle up, because we're about to dive into the new Arsenal game plan that's sending shockwaves through the football world. For years, Arsenal was synonymous with attractive, attacking football. Under Arsene Wenger's leadership, the team dazzled fans with their quick, one-touch passing and fluid movement. This style of play became ingrained in the club's DNA, earning them the nickname the Arsenal Way. But as the years went by, this approach began to show its limitations. Wenger's last seasons saw Arsenal struggle with consistency and defensive frailties. The team often found themselves on the wrong end of high-scoring matches, unable to hold on to leads or grind out results when it mattered most. It became clear that something needed to change if Arsenal wanted to compete at the highest level once again. Enter Mikel Arteta, a former Arsenal player turned manager. With his arrival, the winds of change began to blow through the Emirates Stadium. Arteta, having learned from one of the greatest managers of all time in Pep Guardiola, set about implementing a new vision for the club, one that would prioritise defensive solidity without completely abandoning Arsenal's attacking flair. But the transformation didn't happen overnight. Arteta's first full season in charge saw glimpses of the new Arsenal, but old habits die hard. The team still struggled with consistency, often dominating matches only to concede soft goals and drop vital points. Fans grew restless, and pundits questioned whether Arteta was the right man for the job. But behind the scenes, a revolution was brewing. Arteta and his coaching staff were meticulously analysing every aspect of the team's performance, identifying weaknesses and areas for improvement. They knew that to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, Arsenal needed more than just pretty football. They needed a winning mentality. As the transfer windows came and went, Arsenal's recruitment strategy began to shift. Instead of focusing solely on technical players, the club started targeting individuals with a different set of qualities. Players like Gabriel, Thomas Partey and Ben White were brought in to add steel and grit to the squad. The biggest statement of intent came with the signing of Declan Rice for a whopping £100 million. The former West Ham captain arrived at the Emirates with a reputation for being a midfield enforcer, capable of breaking up play and dictating the tempo of matches. His arrival signalled a clear shift in Arsenal's priorities. Pre-season training camps became more intense, with a focus on defensive shape and tactical discipline. Players were drilled relentlessly on positioning, pressing triggers, and game management. The message was clear: Arsenal would no longer be pushovers. As the 2024-25 season approached, there was a palpable sense of anticipation among the Arsenal faithful. Would this be the year their team finally shed its soft reputation and become Premier League champions for the first time in 21 years? The stage was set for a dramatic transformation. The opening matches of the season provided the first glimpses of the new Arsenal game plan. Gone was the naive, all-out attacking approach of old. In its place stood a team that was organised, disciplined, and, dare we say it, a little bit nasty. Arsenal's formation became more fluid, shifting seamlessly between a back four and a back three, depending on the situation. This flexibility allowed them to adapt to different opponents and game states, making them far less predictable than in previous years. But it wasn't just the formation that had changed. Arsenal's pressing game went into overdrive. Led by the tireless efforts of players like Kai Havertz and Leandro Trossard, the Gunners harried and hassled opponents relentlessly. This high press wasn't just about winning the ball back quickly. It was a psychological weapon designed to intimidate and unsettle the opposition. When Arsenal did lose possession, they didn't simply retreat into a defensive shell. Instead, they employed a tactic known as tactical fouling. Players like Declan Rice and Thomas Partey became masters at disrupting counterattacks with well-timed challenges, often in areas of the pitch where yellow cards were unlikely to be brandished. This new approach didn't go unnoticed by opponents or officials. Arsenal quickly gained a reputation for being a difficult team to play against, but Arteta and his players didn't care. They were focused on results, not popularity contests. The transformation was perhaps most evident in Arsenal's approach to defending leads. In the past, the team had been notorious for throwing away winning positions, but now they display a level of game management that would make even the most cynical of Italian defenders proud. Yes, we are talking to you, Giorgino Chiellini. When ahead in matches, Arsenal began to employ time-wasting tactics with ruthless efficiency. Goalkeepers took an age over goal kicks, substitutions were dragged out to the last second, and players suddenly developed mysterious injuries that required lengthy treatment. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. This newfound pragmatism extended to Arsenal's build-up play as well. While they still possessed the ability to play slick, attacking football, they were now equally comfortable playing direct when necessary. Long balls to the channels became a weapon, stretching defences and creating space for the likes of Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli to exploit. Set pieces, once a weakness, became a strength. Hours of practice on the training ground paid off as Arsenal began to score regularly from corners and free kicks. But it wasn't just the attacking set pieces that improved. Defensively, they became a fortress, with players like Gabriel and William Saliba dominating in the air. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of Arsenal's transformation was their ability to engage in the dark arts of football. Players became experts at drawing fouls, exaggerating contact, and generally making life difficult for opponents. It wasn't always pretty, but it was undeniably effective. As the season progresses, Arsenal's results speak for themselves. A 1-1 draw away to Premier League kings Manchester City whilst down to 10 men, a 1-0 win away to North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur whilst missing several key players, and a comfortable 2-0 home win to PSG in the Champions League. But it wasn't just about results. There was a new swagger about Arsenal. Players strutted around the pitch with a confidence that had been missing for years. They celebrated tackles and blocks with the same enthusiasm as goals, recognising the importance of every aspect of the game. Fans had begun to embrace this new identity. While some purists mourned the loss of the Arsenal way, many more recognised that this evolution was necessary if the club wanted to compete at the highest level. Chants of 1-0 to the Arsenal, once sung ironically, now rang out with genuine pride. At the business end of the last 2 seasons, Arsenal have found themselves in unfamiliar territory, right in the thick of a title race. But there's a growing feeling they can go to the full distance this year, especially with the season-ending injury to Rodri. The impact of Arsenal's tactical transformation was immediate and far-reaching. Opposition teams, used to facing a side they could bully and outmuscle, suddenly found themselves up against a well-oiled machine that gave it as good as it got. Managers scrambled to adapt their game plans when facing Arsenal. The usual tactics of sitting deep and hitting on the counter were no longer as effective against this new, more pragmatic version of the Gunners. Teams that tried to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal often found themselves overwhelmed by the intensity of their pressing and the shrewdness of their game management. In the media, debates raged about the ethics of Arsenal's new approach. Some pundits praised Arteta for instilling a winning mentality in his team, while others accused Arsenal of abandoning their principles. The phrase Arteta ball began to circulate, used both as a compliment and a criticism depending on who was speaking. Players within the Arsenal squad spoke glowingly of the change in mentality. In post-match interviews, they emphasised the importance of doing whatever it takes to win. There was a newfound resilience in the team, a refusal to be beaten that had been missing for so long. But it wasn't just Arsenal's first team that was affected by this tactical shift. The change in philosophy filtered down through the academy, with youth teams adopting similar principles. The club was creating a new generation of players who understood the importance of defensive solidity and tactical discipline. In the transfer market, Arsenal's new reputation began to attract a different calibre of player. Tough, no-nonsense defenders and midfielders who might previously have overlooked Arsenal now saw the club as an attractive destination. The days of Arsenal being seen as a soft touch were well and truly over. Fan forums and social media were abuzz with discussions about the team's new identity, while there were inevitably some who longed for the days of free-flowing, attacking football. The majority recognised that this evolution was necessary for success in the modern game. Opposition fans, meanwhile, began to view Arsenal in a different light. The Gunners were no longer seen as the Premier League's nice guys. Instead, they were now a team to be feared and respected in equal measure. Matches against Arsenal became circled on calendars as one of the hardest games of the season, rather than an opportunity for 3 points. It has become clear that this isn't just a short-term tactical switch, it is a fundamental shift in Arsenal's DNA. But the question on everyone's lips is, how far could this new look Arsenal go? The long-term repercussions of Arsenal's tactical evolution have potential to be significant and far-reaching. As the past few seasons have gone by, it has become clear that this isn't just a temporary fix, it is a complete reimagining of what it means to be Arsenal. One of the most notable changes is in Arsenal's recruitment strategy. The The club began to prioritise players who fit their new tactical approach, looking for a blend of technical skill and physical robustness. The days of signing diminutive players who could be easily bullied off the ball were over. This shift in recruitment had a knock-on effect on Arsenal's academy. Youth coaches are instructed to focus not just on developing technical skills, but also instilling tactical awareness and physical resilience in young players. The goal is to create a pipeline of talent that could seamlessly fit into the first team's new style of play. But the impact has been felt beyond just tactics. Arsenal's newfound mental toughness began to translate into consistent performances in big games and high-pressure situations. The team that had once been known for capitulating in crucial matches now thrived when the stakes were highest. This mental fortitude extended to Arsenal's performances in cup competitions. The team began to make deep runs in domestic cups and European tournaments, reaching the Champions League quarter-finals for the first time in 14 years last season. Off the pitch, Arsenal's brand underwent a significant transformation. The club that had once been associated with stylish, attacking football is now equally respected for its tactical nous and winning mentality. In the boardroom, Arsenal's success has led to increased financial stability. Consistent qualification for European competitions, coupled with deep runs in cup tournaments, boosted the club's revenue streams. This additional income is reinvested into the squad, creating a virtuous cycle of success. However, the transition hasn't been without its challenges. Some long-time fans struggled to reconcile Arsenal's new identity with the club's historical values. Debates raged in fan forums and on social media about whether the end justified the means. Arsenal's relationship with referees also underwent a change. The team that had once been seen as easy to officiate now require a firmer hand. Referees had to adapt to Arsenal's more physical style of play, leading to some controversial decisions and heated debates. In the wider world of football, Arsenal's evolution sparked discussions about the nature of modern football. Purists argued that Arsenal had sacrificed their principles in pursuit of success, while pragmatists pointed to the team's results as justification for their approach. As the years go by, Arsenal's tactical evolution will become less of a talking point and more of an accepted reality. The new Arsenal will no longer be seen as new. It will simply be the Arsenal way. A team that can play beautiful football when required, but isn't afraid to win ugly when necessary. The long-term impact of this transformation extends beyond just Arsenal. Other clubs, particularly those looking to bridge the gap to the top teams, have begun to adopt similar approaches. Think of Aston Villa's recent success. The Premier League as a whole has become more tactically diverse and physically intense as a result. Perhaps the most significant long-term repercussion was the changes in Arsenal's mentality. The club that had once been content with fourth place and playing attractive football is now firmly focused on winning at all costs. This shift in priorities filtered down through every level of the club, creating a culture of excellence and ambition. As Arsenal continue to challenge for titles and compete at the highest level, it has become clear that their tactical evolution has been a masterstroke. The Arsenal way hasn't been abandoned, it has simply been updated for the modern era. And there you have it, the story of Arsenal's tactical revolution. But if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about the greatest defender of all time. A player so dominant, he changed the way we think about defense. Who could it be? Click the video on the screen to find out.